Hello, World Civ 106 and Western Civ 105. The reason why I have to cram these two videos together is that I'm about ready to get my tooth pulled and I ran out of time. And so I may be a little slow on some grading and responding, depending on just how smooth this thing goes. What I just want to clarify, look, we're in week 5. We're heading into week 6, and then we have a final week coming up. Okay, so if you have a problem with your grade or anything that I've been saying about grading or any kind of issues, we need to get that resolved as soon as possible. If we haven't had a discussion about late work, you can't just throw also dump a bunch of late work on me last minute. Okay, so let's get our house in order now while we have time. Okay, so I just want to clarify that. For both classes, my 106 and my 105, you will be seeing just how relevant our information is for helping us to get an understanding of things going on right now. And in regards to 105, Western Civ, we're going to be going next week into having a full discussion about the current state of affairs, which is really going to be appropriate and very helpful, and really thinking through the big topics that we're dealing with currently. So briefly, I just want to say something. I want to speak about Portland since I live here and you're seeing it in the news. And I don't like to be hardline political in my classes, because I like my students to feel comfortable and know that this is a place where their professor is giving them nuanced, quality information. And I'm not trying to indoctrinate you with a particular agenda, okay? But at the same time, living in a city that's being under an international spotlight, I do want to clarify some things and concerns in a way that I think is responsible and professional. So, first of all, almost everything that's been happening in Portland with the demonstrations it's not happening in Portland. It's happening downtown mainly. Okay, so let's just clarify that. So it's not like the entire city has been having riots all over the place, like the way that some news outlets kind of portray it to be. But certainly some of the demonstrations have demonstrators doing things that even people who are very supportive of the causes that they're addressing, destruction of public and private property doesn't set right with a lot of people, no matter what the political views would be. But having said that, here we've been seeing COVID surging so much in the United States that even our president, that has been kind of downplaying things, has recently had to say it's not getting better, and even encouraging people to wear masks. And if you look at international news and you see what's going on, you can't deny this is a problem. And I'm sorry, I still have many friends, and I'm sure many of you students, who don't believe this is real. But I am now watching fellow friends on Facebook, from different political persuasions, might I add, having people that they know that are not just older people, by the way. I mean, just older people, okay? Right? People that they were hanging out with that are dying or getting sick with COVID, okay? So, but I'm not here to convince you if COVID's real or not. But I'm merely saying is that while this has been happening, there's been no federal response to the problem. It's been left up to basically states' rights, a decentralized approach. But we get the situation in Portland, downtown Portland, that is now all of a sudden brought in a federal response. Now, from a legal point of view, I believe that it's not controversial, as the Atlantic magazine pointed out, for federal agents to protect federal property. But you have to understand something, that this is not what's really happening. You had unmarked cars coming, making people disappear off the streets that are suspects. That's beyond the mandate. So we haven't had a federal response to the coronavirus, but now we're having a federal response to demonstrations, and people with unmarked cars not identifying themselves with badges. This is the practice of authoritarian states. It is. There's no other way to say it. Look, I need you to understand something. Think about the history that you've studied, and think about something. Let's say that you 100% disagree with what's been happening with the protesters. It could be the message or the actions or both or whatever. You need to question what the precedent of what is happening now implies for the future of American democracy. There's not been a case where authoritarianism doesn't come out of perceived crisis, a crisis or chaos, and been that something is used as that kind of pretext. And I think that the reason why now the demonstrations are growing and growing in support that the streets are being flooded now is because we here in Portland feel very well aware that we're seeing a threat to our democratic republic, okay? And I think that I don't know. Just to say this, when I was traveling last year, I was gone for a year traveling, and I lived in what we would consider free countries for only about 3 months. I was in Europe for 3 months, and I was in Southeast Asia for the rest of that time. And I left Hong Kong in the middle of the demonstration September 5th. And I watched and saw what a world looks like under rules by governments that have the kind of overreach that we as Americans claim that we don't want to have happen here. So I think that you need to think about that with what you're seeing, the precedent. So I'm not inviting anybody to join a different political side. I'm asking you to think about what your political views are as an American and as a human being, and tell me if you really think that sliding into creating more and more state power is a complement to your political perspective or antithetical to it. And that's only something that you can decide. As for myself, I oppose this and I actually fear it. And so that's all I'm going to say about that. In any case, I hope all of you are doing well and taking good care of yourselves. And we'll be in touch